when you start talking about an inclusive community, when you start talking about a vibrant community, you can't leave education out of the equation. And so I wanted to spend some time today for us just to talk a little bit about Northwest Arkansas education. We firmly believe at the Walton Family Foundation, those that are closest to the challenges are also closest to the solutions. So it's important that we have conversations with everyone in the community, whether that's parents, students, teachers, administrators, anyone that's in our community that has a relationship with, which I think is everyone, the school districts in Northwest Arkansas. So I really appreciate you being here and having some conversation about how we can work toward meeting that goal of becoming an inclusive and vibrant community, one of the most, if not the most inclusive and vibrant community in the United States. Dr. Jones, I don't think that can happen without the education system in Northwest Arkansas. Give me a little bit on how you view education in Northwest Arkansas, specifically the Bentonville School District where you're superintendent, and talk about the importance of the school districts working toward creating that vibrant and inclusive community.
I agree. It's imperative, first of all, that your school district be a place where everyone belongs. And I think that plays out just having the different opportunities for kids, whether that's forensics or band or basketball or football. And not only that you have a place where kids can live up to their potential, but they have a community that wraps around them. And they have a community that's there to support them in whatever the challenges are they experience in their life. And I know that schools in Northwest Arkansas work really hard to make opportunities for kids that engage them and areas where they can be passionate and they can excel.
Sam, talk a little bit about the community aspect of supporting education. Let's take it outside sort of the campus or the walls of the school. Talk to me about what you found, because you're out there, you're having conversations with businesses around supporting students, obviously closely tied to the education system. Talk to me about that and the importance of that in creating a really vibrant and inclusive community.
What we know is it's so critically important to have a strong school system, bar none. That's a given. And Northwest Arkansas has sort of the best collection of schools from public to private to independent. They're getting better every year, which is amazing. But the thing is that when you're growing up, even when you're school age, you only spend 14 to 16% of your time in the classroom, even when you're 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. So you spend most of your time doing other stuff. I think it's the way your school system and your community, your business community, your informal learning community, camps and workshops, and your entire kind of civic infrastructure play off each other. If they play off each other really well, then you're growing kids who have opportunities to have something that they're excited about. And if we think about learning as something that happens life-wide, lifelong, and life deep, if Raina or Billy's or someone else has a chance to get excited over here, have it augmented in the classroom, have it be an after-school program that might be at the Boys and Girls Club or a YM or YWCA. And by the way, their parents are excited about it. And by the way, they're at the library and they get a chance to pull resources. Now we're building really robust opportunities for kids to become excited about being a paleontologist or being an astronaut, which is what I wanted to be when I grew up. Haven't given up on that one yet. So growing a community that has lots of opportunities and making sure those opportunities are talking and communicating, because really it flips it from a school or a museum or a business-centric question about how do we work together. It's really what is in the best interest of this child and this family, and how do we make sure that every family comes through, gets that special attention.
Raina, talk a little bit about the importance of having someone that reflects who you are in the classroom.
50% of his students in my high school were Hispanic. About 48% were white, and less than 2% of students were Marshallese or any other race or ethnicity. And what I mean by that is that I barely saw any Hispanic teachers in the school. Even my Spanish teacher, my AP Spanish teacher, was that Hispanic, or the ESOL teachers. And so considering that a large percentage of those Hispanic kids are ESOL, I feel like they would benefit a lot from having a Hispanic teacher. And maybe not just Hispanic, but someone who comes from the same background, someone who understands how hard it is to go to a new country, to learn a new language. And so for me, I cannot think of how different my life could have been because I had great teachers, like I said. But for them, I feel like they would benefit a lot. And not just them, any student in a minority that is struggling in school, that needs help. I feel like just someone who comes from a similar background can be of great help for them.
Being a mom going into the schools, I do think we need to be more purposeful. Our community, from the time I've been here, I've watched it become a melting pot almost. When you're at community events, I don't necessarily see that on the lower level in the schools. I feel like our kids need to see more people that look like us.
But you have a really unique perspective as a teacher and as a parent.
Correct.
Right? I know, because we've had these conversations, that you have recently decided to make Northwest Arkansas your forever home.
Correct.
You all are in the process of building a house and planting roots here. I know how important education is to you. I know how important it is for your family to have access to a quality, high quality education. What went into the decision making around making Northwest Arkansas that place?
For one, being an educator, I was in the state of Georgia for 12 years, very close to the city of Atlanta, so I saw all walks of life. My daughter was in the Gifted and Talented program. It was great. She did well. I came here, her first year at school at R.E. Baker in Bentonville. Her third grade year, she could not get into the Gifted and Talented program here because you all had several different steps than it was in Georgia, which was fine, because the classes and the academics that she was getting here was like her Gifted and Talented program in Georgia. And that was an eye-opener for me. It was just, as she has gone through school, she's been here, like I said, she started in 12th grade, but I've got to watch my son, who started in Bentonville school system in kindergarten, and I've watched what he was exposed to, how he has grown academically, what he was expected to do as a student. The standing up and presenting a project on your own, or leading the parent-teacher conferences. When I showed up, I'm sitting at a table across from my son, and he's telling me about his grades in school, So that was something out of my many years prior, I had not seen that before. And I looked at Bentonville schools, and probably, I'm sure, the other areas here as well, they're pushing our kids to be what they're expected to be moving forward as adults. They're setting them up early for success.
Talk to me a little bit about the intentionality of career programming and what that's meant for the program.
Well, it starts with the basic belief that no one should cross our stage and leave without being prepared to follow their dreams. If that dream's to college, then you're prepared to go. If that dream is to walk into a career immediately, you should be prepared to do that. So our standard of education is going to be there even if you're preparing for a career. But you are so right when you talk about you'll find the top 10% and maybe the bottom 10% in Ignite. And it's because maybe that bottom 10%, they have a passion in coding or in graphic design or in photography or culinary arts, and they're especially skilled there. They're not so keen on the academic end, but we see kids that will go to school so they can go to Ignite, and they'll do the other academic end just so that they get to go to Ignite. And that's the secret. Find their passion, and they'll want to come to school every day.
It would be naive of us not to talk about the unprecedented times we are facing in education, right? Even as amazing as Northwest Arkansas is, we are not protected from what happens throughout the rest of the state, throughout the rest of the country, and around the world. And so, we are dealing with a situation in which we are concerned about students and their health. We're concerned about their families. We are concerned about being able to provide this high quality education to students so that they can go on and pursue their dreams. I'm going to ask Dr. Jones, how she's feeling going into this the school year. I've known Dr. Jones a while now, so she's going to say, I'm feeling great. We're ready.
I'm so excited. It's going to be a great year. I am.
I know you
But
are.
I'm also very realistic. I will say everything that happens in our community comes to school with our kids. And so it's really important that the nation heal. Last year was an extremely successful year. And it was because teachers. Because there was a very strong plan, and teachers and staff carried that out. And we opened up in August, and we stayed in school all year long with very few pivots. We watched growth in students, academic growth, very closely, and we've learned lessons. There's no substitute for face-to-face learning. There is no substitute for that. And when we did virtual education, we did it the best that it can be done, because we still required kids to be synchronous and sign on. So recognizing that, this summer we had summer engagement camps, not designed to bring up academic necessarily, designed to re-engage the kids with the school, just get them connected so they want to come back this year. And so they did things like go to the Amazium, go to Crystal Bridges, take bike rides, go canoeing, and build that community so they'll come back.
I mean, if we think about being an inclusive and vibrant, I mean, if you look at vibrancy of a community, it means that things are happening all the way throughout, right? You can feel this energy, this palpable sense that things are happening in school, out of school. So I think, and you can feel it, right? Sometimes it's really hard to put a quantitative number on, but you can get a good vibe from a community when you are going during the school day, in the evenings, et cetera, and sensing what's happening there. And then inclusive means it's for all. I mean, that there's a diversity of opportunities there, and not only opportunities, but there's a sense that in here, of course, Crystal Bridges has sort of, the Momentary has You Belong as one of their giant signs outside, one of the giant artworks outside, and that there's a sense that you don't just have opportunities, but that everyone feels like they're included and belong in what's happening in the region.